Hello the internet! It's me again, and I've got more stuff on offer for your viewing pleasure. In this case, stuff from the Guinness World Records. This is a build your own wind-powered car. Asks you if you can break the record for the fastest 5 meters travelled by a wind-powered car. Or the furthest distance travelled by a wind-powered car. Or not quite sure I'm reading that right. I must be a little drunk. Yes, well, just remember, if you're drunk, don't drive. You might spill your drink. Or something along those lines. And I've got something else on a similar note. It's this time Guinness World Records rubber band cars. You can guess how this one's powered, can't you, children? Well, what I'll do is I'll open this one up first and just see what we have. Tab at the top. Oh. I'm one of these people who likes to keep the boxes as secure as I can, and unfortunately, quite rightly, that's not always possible. Nice little bag, and then lots of little plastic bits and pieces, and instructions. So let's just see what we've got here. Nice and secure bag. So secure, of course, everything goes flying all over the place. Something fell on the floor there, and there's at least one sticker by the looks of it. I have to read the instructions to know what that's about. And if you're wondering what dropped on the floor, that was that. Let's just see, let's get all of these bits and pieces here. Various axles of various sizes, very small wheels, large wheels, various framework, and of course a rubber band, or 2 or 3 maybe. One of the things I keep noticing whenever I end up doing the videos, I keep ending up using the phrase bits and pieces. And that's not deliberate. I'm not deliberately trying to reference the show, it's just something that keeps happening. Probably because it's a turn of phrase I use so often. Probably why I called the show what I called it. Or possibly not. Oh my god. You're right, those little things there, they're part of a collection that is dropping off all over the place. Yes, stickers of some sort. Never really been a sticker type person, to be honest, but let's just see the instructions. Oh, like that, so you get a good idea of what's going on here. Rubber band cars uses the instructions below to make a simpler car. Try different wheels, chassis and axle combinations to see which one performs best. So it gives you suggestions on what they think is the best type, and you can see the 4 different configurations they've got, and how they think you should attach the rubber bands and so on, the various different ways. Okay, so these are basically washers just to allow the, see, it's right there. These are basically washers just to allow the wheels to turn properly. So let's see, okay, I think I can have a go at 1 or 2 of these. I think there's enough material to make at least 1 car. Alright, I'll have a go. Back in a tick. And we're back. Okay, you might be looking at it and thinking, what the hell is that? And to be quite brutally honest, so am I. Just to take a look at it, it doesn't give you any real stability. The instructions do say that you can wrap the little rubber bands around. You do get quite a selection of them. Okay, you can wrap them around the axles to create more stability, and you can put the smaller bits in here to try to help stabilise things a bit more. But overall it doesn't do much. You really need something on the inside that will give permanent stability, and the rubber bands do that, but not to a good degree. So I'm just showing you how flimsy it looks without them first. Even with them on, it doesn't really improve performance much. What you'll notice here is that you've got, you'll notice that the bands go on and around the wheels as well. That's optional. They do say it improves traction, but as I was pointing out earlier, you'll notice that this section here, I'll just get that into camera for you, that bit there, that allows you to hook the band on. This sticks around here on this here one, you know what I mean, and this wraps around here, and then you just turn it. You're supposed to do it clockwise, but of course I'm doing it anti-clockwise, and anti-clockwise is no good to us here. Okay, so we'll do it properly there. You'll see what happens, it winds around quite nicely. And whether you've got the bands on or not on the wheels doesn't really make much difference, because this surface is as flat as they come. And you'll notice, we'll do a count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it did actually work that time. Oh well, every attempt I've made so far, it just basically stood there and spun its wheels wildly. Did nothing. Can't explain that one, but it would probably work a lot better if you had more pieces to stabilise it. Okay, more rubber bands. The reason that there's so few rubber bands on to help try to stabilise it is because I was actually trying to get 1 or 2 of them onto the wheels, and obviously you saw how well that worked. Didn't work well at all. But I do think it would probably work if it actually had something to help stabilise it. Well, I'll clear that off and then I'll get the next one out. So here we are. I've put it to one side to watch in shame, as if there was some sort of crashed Formula 1 vehicle, which it does sort of vaguely resemble, in the same way that it resembles vaguely any other car. And speaking of another car, here's the wind turbine version. You can see it's going to work along the same sort of basis, rubber bands and sort of the same looking materials, only green instead of red. Actually, that's said on the packaging. Now that I notice, this is a much lighter red than the darker maroon that they had on there. Oh well. Didn't really bother looking at any of the guff in the back here. A couple of these whatchamacalls that I keep forgetting what they're actually called and what they're supposed to actually do. You can tell I'm behind the times, can't you? You know the logo, it's on the other one as well. And then, let's see. Disposable card. Plastics. Remove plastics before recycling. Yeah, okay. If you say so, if you insist. I thought that would have been obvious by now, but never mind. Exactly the same kind of boxing. With exactly the same level of difficulty. If, like me, you like to preserve the boxes. Don't know why, that's just the way I am as well. Oh, this one looks like it's going to be opened a little easier. Look, more rubber bands. Called it! Instructions, propeller blades, bits and pieces of wind turbine. Exactly the same sort of wheels, only green. And then these bits here that look as if though they've probably going to have far more stability. In fact, I think in general I've got a nagging suspicion that what I'm going to find is that this is going to be more stable than that. So if I was to amalgamate these bits and pieces together, bits and pieces, yes, I've just caught on to me saying that yet again myself. You could probably play a drinking game. Every time I name drop my own show's name into my own show's recordings, take a drink. But back to my point, because I'm digressing, I think that this is probably going to be more stable than that. So I've got a suspicion that what will happen, once I've built this one together and gave it a test, I can probably amalgamate the parts together and see what happens that way. Interesting. What do you mean no? Watch the jump cut. And we're back. I just realised I hadn't actually even bothered to look at the instructions. And here they are. And there they go. And they're back again. And the first thing I noticed as soon as I opened it up, yes, there's going to be a lot more stability, just like I said there was, because of the way they interlock, and they're showing you that straight away. So I think, yes, I probably will be doing some sort of amalgamation later. Yeah, you're still not interested, are you? Oh well, tough crowd. And there we are. Back in action. This one actually works. And I just want to show you something. You've got some variations here. You've got this larger one here with the larger propeller. You've got a smaller propeller here with a smaller bit here. And you notice that on one side it's all nicely moulded, and on the other side it's all massive gaps and everything. But it's all nice and solid. That's something that I can say it's a decent enough quality plastic. It's not as good as, say, Lego, although this stuff does sort of resemble Lego in that it's interlocking. You've got two options for the blade. You've got the big one and the small one, as I've just mentioned. You've got the smaller wheels, although I can't really see much use for those. You've got these smaller sections here, so you can basically make long, slender versions as well. And you can either use the big blade or the small blade. But the bizarre thing I noticed about this piece here, which is basically the smaller version of that, it has, whoops, just knocked the camera, it has this bit here, which is a generic section for that. It's just effectively a replacement part. There's no mention of a replacement part, but that just basically hooks on like that, and you do it that way. You could, in theory, flip it 180 and turn it into a propeller for a boat, although obviously there's not enough boats to actually make a boat, and didn't actually see them selling a boat. But hey, you never know, possibilities. If you're really creative, you might just be able to get away with making a boat out of this stuff, if you can appropriate enough and you have enough time and resources and patience to actually do something like that. But in any case, let's get on with this. As you can see, I'm winding the propeller up. Is that clockwise? Yes, that's clockwise. Let's just see, what do the instructions say? If you wind it clockwise, it will pull. In other words, it'll go forward. Which it does. And if you do it the other way, yes, that's the other way, it would push, so it'd basically go in reverse there. I think that's enough rotations. No, obviously not. Right, well, it might just be the surface might be a little too much for it. Let's just give that another try. Wait a minute, I just did it clockwise again. Force of habit. Let's just see. Yes, that works nicely, so let's try it the other way. You're probably wondering if I remember my left from my right. Yes, I do. I just forgot all about clockwise and anti-clockwise. Somehow. I don't know how, but I did. I think that's enough rotations. You can see the rubber band is getting quite nicely twisted and turning and everything. So this will probably go flying right off the edge of my table. Or probably not. Yes, it did. Oh well. So yes, this works far better overall than this one did because of the lack of stability. But I did realise something. This stuff isn't actually compatible as such because obviously there's nothing for it to go onto. However, if you make it bulge a little bit, then you get some level of stability. Let's just see now. Will it work either way? No, we get no stability whatsoever. Let's just keep it as low as we can. This is just literally a thought that's sprung to mind now. So let's see. Yeah, the wheels are going to suffer a bit here. But what the heck. We've got a bit of grip here. This is literally just well, that sort of worked, but of course it fired prematurely. And of course it just fell right out of my hand. I'm going to give it another try, so let's just see what we can do this time. Maybe not quite so many spins. Am I even turning it the right way? Will the rubber bands have it? Oh god. Well, I think I'll just... I might be able to salvage this. Let's just see. And that's just gone. And the wheels just feel like they're going to turn no matter what. I'll just try to keep this in focus for you so you can sort of see my wild fumblings. This isn't going to work the way I hoped it would. Spur of the moment. Spur of the moment. Will it work? Will it not? I don't know. Let's see. I spun it the wrong way, but it did sort of work. It went off in reverse. So, yes, you can modify this thing to kind of, sort of work, but I think it's just the way this thing's designed. Oh, who would be calling it this time? Excuse me. And I'm back. Bizarre phone call, BT message saying that I'm due deliveries from DHL. Now, I haven't ordered anything, so I've got no idea what that's about. But there you go. So, what was I actually saying there? Well, this is a nice idea. It kind of sort of works, and if you've got the time and patience and effort and concentration and possibly imagination, you probably would get this to work properly. Maybe if I use some of these and maybe some of these, maybe it would add some more stability, but hey, what the hell, let's just see. It's not like I've got anything better to do. No, of course, main problem is, of course, there's nothing to actually support it from the inside other than rubber bands. So maybe if I do this here, I can feel a jump cut coming on at some point. Oh yes. Let's just see here. Tell you what, I'll jump cut, because that'll leave me less editing to do. And we're back again. I've managed to stabilise it. Do you like it? Unfortunately, the rubber tyres and the wheels are coming off again. But it is far more stable. You can see what I've done here. I've basically just put more rubber bands along the sides here, and that's given it more central stability. And if I actually bothered to do the rest, it would probably be more stable again. This is more sort of proof of concept, to prove that I have actually at least managed to master some extremely low level basic level of, well, playing with a toy really, but never mind. Shall we see if it works? On a count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Yes, it works. So, in conclusion, as far as those two particular toys are concerned, they work. That one's got its flaws, that one's got its foibles. This one's easier and possibly a bit more fun. Yeah, there you go. Quite nice. Evil.